there's too many players on Alabama's roster and Ohio State's roster from the state of Texas. So first and foremost, we've got to lock the gates here in the state. We've got to have great relationships with the high school coaches. That's first and foremost. I think the second thing goes to developing a real team, a real culture. A lot of people recruit 4- and 5-star athletes. The challenge is creating a team, and a team that plays as one. So those are probably the two mainstays that need to occur. And then ultimately, we got to hire a great staff that's a developmental staff that has great schemes, that out-coaches, out-prepares our opponents.
Sark, you've been part of historical offenses, whether it was at USC or Alabama, and you got guys winning Biletnikoffs and Heisman trophies and Remington Awards and Davey O'Brien Awards. What made this offense at Alabama special opposed to the ones that you were part of at USC?
Well, I think we had great veteran leadership key. We had a veteran offensive line. Whenever Devontae Smith decided to come back, when Ruggs and Judy left, we had a veteran wide receiver. And then when Najee Harris decided to come back, we had a veteran running back. A little bit of the uncertainty at quarterback, but I think we saw Mac Jones, who was a guy who had been in the program, had really persevered, had worked extremely hard, came to Alabama regardless of Tua in the same signing class or Jalen Hurts being there. So I think the leadership was there. And then ultimately, I think it was the buy-in. These guys really bought into the multiplicity of the things we wanted to do. They understood why we were trying to do the things we were doing, and then they took advantage of the opportunities on game day when we got the looks that we wanted.
Sark, when you look at the opportunities that were out there for you over the last couple of years, whether it was Colorado, Mississippi State, and some other schools, in the end, what ultimately led you to accept the Texas job?
Well, as you guys, it's well documented. I was obviously the head coach of the University of Washington, inherited a program that was 0-12, and took that place over and went on to go to 4 straight bowl games before going down to SC. And when I got to SC, we were still halfway on probation. The scholarship numbers were way down, and that was a tall task to kind of regenerate that program, and it really still hasn't gotten out of from the probation era. So when I got to Alabama and we were having the success we were having, I just said to myself, I realized at that point, okay, I'm going to get another shot, but it better be the right one because this one might be it. So I just wasn't really looking for a total rebuild. As jobs came and went, and I was saying no. When Texas came and I really started to study the job, look at the roster, look at the things they had in place here, the resources, the facility was already being built, be done here this June or July. There were a lot of pieces in place to where it wasn't a complete rebuild. It was something I don't think we're that far away. Definitely we have work to do. And then clearly the brand of Texas, it's an iconic brand, the rich history and tradition, the great players that have come through here, the national championship. So all in all, it's set up to where this was really a no-brainer for me to go take this job.
To get blown up by guys like, Rich Kleiman and Kevin Durant. Rich Kleiman manages Kevin Durant, obviously KD playing for the Brooklyn Nets, about how much they love the hire and how much they love Texas football. And it made me start thinking, the resources that you have at Texas are unlimited. How do you plan to, as people are connecting with you, how do you plan to deploy those resources to accomplish your goals?
Well, I think one thing, Jay, is I've got to cultivate those relationships with the people that provide the resources, and that's all part of the job. When you take a job like this and you're a head football coach of this type of a program, it's not just coaching football. You've got to cultivate the relationships with the donors. Definitely have to do a great job in recruiting. You have to have a really good relationships with your athletic director. Clearly, ours, Chris Del Conte, and I have created a really unique bond very early. All those things play out to then what do you do with the resources? It's one thing to have the resources, but making sure that you're using them and putting them in the right places for ultimately the success of our players and our team. And that can't go unnoticed. Everything we have to do in our program is for the success of our players, whether that's on the field, whether it's in the classroom, whether that's life after football, and making sure all those things are in place, A, for our success, but B, for their success, and then for future player success that want to come to the University of Texas, that we have these things in place for them to have a life where they can succeed and do great things.
Coach, really appreciate it. We got to run this morning. I know you probably have 100 things on the checklist, so you could mark this one off. Key, we got 1 minute to go.
Hey, Sark, you're going to have to get rid of them Gucci Jimmy Choo shoes and get some boots now.
I might have to bring a little bit more swag to Austin. That's all right. We'll be good.
Yeah, I'm looking at you pull. I was looking at you pull a cannon. I'm like, that doesn't look right.
I have to admit, man, Bevo is a large animal. That took a minute, and the cannon, that was loud. I'll get used to it. Took a minute, but I'll get used to it.
All right, man. I'll see you down hopefully in the spring at spring ball. If not, I'll see you in the summer.
Congrats, Sark.
All righty, guys. Thank you. Hook 'em.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.